Disclaimer: this video is my own analysis of the Owl House. You do not have to agree with it. You do not have to watch this video. Just please respect the fact that I am allowed to have my own opinion. Thank you. Hello there, the name is Trippy. Today I felt like talking about the Owl House and its art style. Well, of course there's a lot of lovely aspects to it. There's also some stuff that I feel are worth addressing, as even though the show has ended months ago, a fair few things haven't been really addressed that much now, or when the show wasn't even really finished, and now are just forgotten about mostly. The art style portrays body types poorly in my opinion. Firstly, let's grab Luce. She's very lanky. Her shirts are twice her size. We don't see much of any fat on her. Yet we are led to believe, or at least told, that she is average size. I am sorry, but no. Luce is not average size. And whether it's the art style, or whoever designed the art style, or whoever designed Luce, it does not matter. The fact is that millions of kids will see Luce when watching the show, and seeing her meant to be average sized and will look at themselves and think, why am I not like her? This gets worse when we take a look at, say, Willow. She is meant to be plus sized. However, she looks a lot more like an average kid her age. So that doesn't help when kids will also look at Willow and see only like one kid who looks like them. A kid who the first time they see them gets bullied and gets little screen time and focus, and still gets bullied in the second to final episode of the show. And Hunter. He is meant to be someone who was trained for years. A soldier, we're told. But he's nearly as lanky as Luce, with just a little bit more fat to him. Nothing about him aside from, I guess, the armor or the weapons shouts, "I have been trained! I am a soldier!" to me. The adults in the Owl House are something else. Camila looks a bit more plus size than Willow, as she is a grown-up. Ida and Lilith are abnormally slender for an adult. They are both the same weight as Luce. Same waist width, same arm width, etc. Also the abnormally pointy chins. Was that an attempt to give them a diamond face? Or was that an attempt to make them appear more slender? Anyway, Odalia suffers from DreamWorks mom syndrome, which you'd think would help her reputation in the fandom, at least a little bit. But in fact it makes it even worse. Oh dear lord, the shit I've seen. Bellows looks like a slightly chubby adult man, but overall he looks a lot more average compared to someone like Ida or Odalia. There's also other features in the Owl House that are handled weirdly. We'll begin in no particular order. I know that hair changes as you grow, but it wouldn't change so drastically from month to month or even week to week. It doesn't help that Amity is the only one with this issue. If the other ones had this in the time skip, and if these were the only times it happened, there wouldn't really be any issue here. But with every new version of her design, Amity's hair changes. And it's really annoying when you try to draw her design any design, but don't know which of her hair color is the correct one. So we know that Luz's hair was straight all the way up until around Thanks to Them. And in Thanks to Them, in the very corner of the background, it is shown that a straightener is what at least Camila was using to straighten her hair. So it is likely, and what most of the fandom assumes, is that's what Luz was using to straighten her hair as well. But how? Luz was in the demon realm, especially after she lost the portal. She had no electricity, and she was meant to go to camp, so why would she pack a straightener? So how would she still have her hair straight? How would she keep it straight? I am not accusing the writers of anything here. All I'm saying is that it feels like a very slapped together excuse for why Luz and her mom, who are curly Latinas, didn't have curly hair. It just feels very strange. So there's a little story to this. Not to this fact, but how I know about this. I didn't find out about this for the show, or for the wiki, or through any post hoots, but through an edit on Twitter of someone giving Willow more Blasian features. And because at the time I thought she was white, I was confused. And after I found out, I was shocked. I mean, no offense to whoever designed her, but she doesn't look Blasian. She just looks white. If I'll be able to, I'll pull up some examples of Blasians from real life. But she just looks white. I mean, the entire time I went through, I think nearly the entirety full 2 seasons, thinking Willow was just white, because no one ever mentioned it. Not even like post hoot, or no one on social media, nowhere. I think it's just hidden somewhere on the, like, in one of the like little bits on the wiki. So it's just incredible. Like, my god. So it should be pretty obvious. Nearly everyone in the Owl House has the exact same nose. Nearly every female character has the same tiny nose. Nearly every male character has the same nose. Some are an exception, but those get barely any screen time if they aren't a one-off for one scream or episode. The only characters who don't are considered the evil, quote unquote, characters, or at least are for some time considered that. The examples are Alder and Hunter and Caleb. All have hooked noses and were evil at least at one point in the show. Aldor was a neglectful father who enabled Adalia, and Hunter was considered a small villain as he was on the side of Bellows and his right hand. And Caleb, don't feel free to skip this part if you do not wish to listen to me talk about the Widowbane lore. Caleb was someone who left his little brother for someone who either he just met or has been secretly meeting. Either way, he just up and left Philip, who he knew he was the only family member of and the only support system of, all for a witch girlfriend, and never bothered to at least maybe come back and let him live in the demon realm too. He left his problems behind, which included Philip, I suppose. A child. A child which could have unlearned everything that he was taught by the Puritan society. But that's getting off track. The fact that all of these characters, they all have hooked noses, and only them, aside from maybe one or two that don't really even get any screen time or much of a mention, feels very off to me. It wouldn't have mattered if there would be more characters with them, especially ones that we meet that aren't really villains, and again that maybe get more screen time or a bit more focus. But there isn't, as which is very weird, as hooked noses are very much often associated with Jewish folks, and considering the treatment and association they keep getting, this feels wrong. And how Bellows is essentially the only one with a crooked / broken nose and so many scars, though it's essentially a skin condition at this point. It feels wrong. I mean, sure, Hunter ends up getting more scars later on, but it isn't addressed. Not much of anything from what that event was gets addressed. It just feels wrong with how all of those kind of features from the characters get treated by not just really the show, but the fandom. It just feels wrong. Now we'll take a look at what the fandom did with each of these, not as a call out or of any of the sorts. This is just in case anyone will try to go, but this person said this person did this post about this, or any of the sorts in the comments. I know some things have been mentioned, whether on a larger scale or a smaller scale, whether ages ago or just recently. However, the thing is, not everything has been handled well when mentioned, mostly by the fandom. I saw someone mention the art style / was asking why the characters are so thin, I'm paraphrasing here, in a post alongside Amphibia months ago. I cannot find the post anymore, sadly. However, most, if not all, of the commenters were defending the shows and were saying it's just the art style, or it's just how the art style looks. Instead of just trying to understand OP's point. Since I, of course, do not know what's going on in the commenters' brains, all I can guess is that this is a lack of understanding OP's point. However, this is not just a one-time situation, as even with how thin the characters in the L House look, there's still a lot of body shaming and fat phobia. Willow gets thinned down constantly. Billows gets shamed a lot, and I mean a lot. And Odalia, if I were to say what gets said about her, I'd get taken off the platform, that's for sure. But let's just say that it's people wanting to do not so good things before nearly killing her. Someone made a post on Twitter talking about the weird hair color changes in Emery's designs. I will pull it up if I can. And aside from a fake Dana Terrence saying she saved Emery from being ginger, and a bunch of people agreeing with her, I don't know if they were joking or not. People were saying that OP was overreacting and that the colors were just shifting over time and that it is a thing over and over and over, when it wouldn't have changed that dramatically. And especially, I don't think ginger hair would lose its gingerness and gain it back. How does that work? I know that dye damages hair. They have commented it over and over again. I already know. But the shift in hair still doesn't make sense, even with hair dye in mind. That's not how hair works. People just kept jumping on to defend at all costs, even if OP wasn't attacking the show. They just wanted to comment on it. Just wanted to basically say, hey, this is a pretty weird thing that happened. Look at it. Like, oh my god. Are animation errors not allowed to happen? Is the animation error in For the Future now totally intentional, according to these people? Jesus. I haven't actually seen much talk about this one, which I'm quite surprised about. I'm not sure if I'm just not looking in the right spots, but I haven't really much found any posts about it, so I can't really comment about it on this section of this video. So, of course, there's edits, people making their own Blasian Willow designs, etc. But nothing really other than that. There might be a post here and there mentioning or calling it out, but nothing really else. I wouldn't be surprised if the larger part of the fandom didn't even really know that Willow is meant to be Blasian, to be honest. I mean, I didn't know until around a year ago or so. Maybe a little less. Okay, so there have been some people commenting that, hey, why isn't there more characters with hooked noses? Especially, say, Amity or Ida, but then when someone say, for example, say hey, to the Amity argument, people say, oh, but she's meant to look like Odalia, not Alador. But then why doesn't Odalia just focus on Amity's older sister if it's all about looks? I'm pretty sure also when the concept art for Ida was revealed, if I remember correctly, there was a concept art, one of them, there was a concept where there was an Ida with a hooked nose. So that's especially when people went, oh my goodness, we got robbed about hooked nose Ida. But other than that, there's not really been much of a mention of it. Which I'm not shocked, since a lot of people just prefer the more conventionally attractive, quote unquote, characters. It's why there's no demons in the main cast, aside from King, I guess, and who he is just, well, he's just bullied and he uses comic relief, and well, King originally was just comic relief, for it was just out of nowhere changed. The one time something was done from the outrage over the art style was when Luz's blush was incorrect. And I'm honestly shocked that that was the only time people were outraged over the art style. Especially towards people of color, considering how the show treats people of color. Anyway, that will be all for now. Ta-ta!